Hello, in this video we will be installing the Falcon sensor on Big IP. We'll start the installation by going to the sensor downloads and copying the customer ID that we will need for the installer. We'll then need to copy the files up to the Big IP device. We'll also need to run the installer from the bash prompt. Here you can see that if we look in here, we have the scripts that we need to censor, the installer, as well as an uninstall script that you can use if necessary. We'll want to change into that directory and run this installer script where we're also sending in the CID. We'll also want to send in a tag that you'll want to use to identify the sensor later that we'll configure in the Falcon console. Once the install is complete, we can go back to the Falcon console to configure the host groups. Here we're going to the host management, and we're going to see that our host has been detected, but currently it is not part of a host group, and you can see that it's just kind of inheriting the defaults. So we're now going to create this host group here, and for the host group we're going to start with giving it a name. In this case we're just going to call it Big IPVE, and then we can add this assignment rule over here. And the assignment rule is what we're going to use to be able to identify which instances are a Big IP device. So we'll need to kind of go over here to add this filter. And you'll see in the filter that we're going to be using the tags that were used when we installed the Big IP device. So in this case, it's going to be that F5 Big IPVE tag that we used when we installed the software. We're going to apply that. And you can see that we're going to update it, create the assignment rule, update the group, and it's there. Next, we're going to assign a prevention policy. A prevention policy is going to dictate kind of what types of settings the Falcon sensor is going to be using. So in this case, we're labeling it Big IP EAP, and you'll see that these are kind of coming from the KB article, so make sure that you're using the current documentation. At the time of this recording, this is part of the early access program. Please check the comments below for the latest settings. We'll then save it. And we need to make sure that we enable the policy up here. Next, we're going to assign the policy to the group that we created. So here you can see that we found our Big IP EAP, and we're going to assign it to the group. So you can see here we're going to assign it to the Big IPVE, assign to group, and then all good. Next, we'll update the content update policy, or the sensor update policies. This will just ensure that especially during the early access program, that we want to ensure that we're only doing manual updates of the sensor agent. So giving a name, no updates for Big IP. And it's already set to the default of not doing any updates. So at this point, the only thing we need to do is then assign it to the host group. And then we also want to make sure that we enable the policy as well. And then now if we go back to the host view, what we'll see is that it has assigned to the group that we previously created. So if I kind of scroll over here, you'll see now it's part of the Big IPVE host group. And that concludes our install.